Well, hello. I recently finished the 2.8 version of Infinity Nikki, which ended the Itzaland story arc. And I don't know about you, but all of the lore that got dropped on us in 2.8 left me feeling a little bit lost. So I wanted to attempt to summarize the Itzaland storyline. Just to let you guys know, this is gonna be more of like a jokey, general, main story summary kind of video, and not as much a like super detailed, accurate, patch for patch lore recap kind of thing. But regardless of that, I'm sure I did maybe make a mistake somewhere or get something confused. Maybe I forgot some relevant piece of lore that can only be found by reading the description of a shoe. So, yeah, if there's anything egregious that you would like to point out, please feel free to do so below. Oh, also, spoilers, obviously. So, if you haven't finished playing 2.8 and you don't want to be spoiled, go. Shoo. And with all of that said, here is my summary of the Itzaland story. We're going to start off with Ecarus. Ecarus, the god of reincarnation, was born at the Soul Spring in the Boneyard, where a bunch of his dragonkin were. He was responsible for ferrying souls and all that jazz that comes with being the god of, reincarnation. And apparently, some of that jazz also included making the Mother Shroom and Shroomlings to terrorize Infinity Nikki players. I mean, to be an exception to the will of reincarnation and act as an anchor point when the cycle goes cuckoo bananas and starts to drift. You see, Shroomlings are so dumb and their souls are so tightly anchored into their little bodies. They don't reincarnate. They just die. Anyways, the resentment and obsessions of lost souls who do reincarnate really started getting to Ecarus. Like, he just got super weak. So he went to his dragon buddies and was like, "Hey, I need to take a mental health day or week or month. Could you be in charge of souls while I'm gone?" And the dragons were like, "Oh yeah, for sure, we got you." So Ecarus left, and the dragons were in charge.
Meanwhile,
In the Elderwood Forest, there were a bunch of titans, and according to records in Heaven's Reach, it was a bad time. But it could just be Osna propaganda, so take it with a grain of salt. Osna was like, "This place sucks. I'm gonna make a new place." And so she constructed Heaven's Reach. The place definitely had some growing pains, what with the droughts and earthquakes and monsters popping up, so some people were like, "Maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't have left the forest." And then Osna was like, "If you're not having fun, you can leave." But mostly everyone was like, "Yay, Osna! Yay, Heaven's Reach! Woohoo!"
meanwhile,
Remember how Ecarus left all the dragons in charge? Well, his timing sucked, because a really bad soul tide came through and basically killed off all the dragons. They were having a really bad time. Suddenly, a messed up ship of humans washed up on shore, and they were having an equally bad time. The dragons were dying. The humans were dying. So then the dragons were like, "Oh my god, I just got the craziest idea. What if we became roommates? Like in your body. We live, you live, it'll be a great time." And the humans were like, "Okay." So they merged souls and became Parksolians. And then the Parksolians were like, "Oh, why do I have a migraine? And the dragons were like, oh yeah, so it looks like two souls in one body isn't the most ideal roommate situation. So you guys will have what's called soul rift. Just ignore that for now. Oh, also, by the way, this means you're all in charge of ferrying souls and taking care of them until Ecarus comes back. Don't worry, it's a temporary thing, just like Soul Rift, all temporary. Ecarus will be back any second. And the now Parksolians were like, yeah, okay, yeah, sounds good. Except for 9 of them. These 9 would eventually go by the names Black Sheep, Blue Eyes, Pioneer, Snakes, Turtle Dove, Poet, Meteor, Amber, and Solar Eclipse. By the way, I couldn't find any pictures of the last 3, so I'm just using pictures of random Mothus members just for visualization purposes. I just wanted to clarify that. These 9 looked at the dragons and said, absolutely not. We literally just escaped from one god who was like really mean. And you want us to immediately work for another god? No deal. So they left and probably immediately regretted that decision. Amber got really sick. Solar Eclipse ended up getting a huge gash on his abdomen. They were low on food, low on water, but somehow they lucked out and ended up at Heaven's Reach. Ozna took them in and had them all taken care of. So then Black Sheep was like, hey Ozna, we've got this super cool thing called a prophecy stone, and we can help you get what you want. I want to be king forever, 'cause I promised everyone I'd take care of 'em forever. And then Black Sheep was like, the prophecy stone says this whole place is gonna go cuckoo bananas if you die. So what do you suggest? Just don't die. Just let us help you transfer your soul into new bodies over time so that you can live forever. What is it, Mother dearest? What do you think of these 9 little shorties, Almus? I trust them. These are 9 complete strangers who show up with a magic stone, promising to give me whatever I want, no charge, no questions asked, and you trust them? Yes. Cool, me too. From now on, I'm gonna call you guys Mothus, and you're gonna help me transfer my soul. Hop to it. And hop to it, Mothus did. Over the next few years, the members of Mothus were really busy. Busy experimenting and making giant cocoons to preserve bodies during soul transfer shenanigans. Busy getting busy. As Black Sheep and Blue Eyes had a kid they named White Sheep. And they were also busy dying. About 4 years into their stay, Solar Eclipse died. Then, soon after, Amber died. Then, around a year later, Meteor died during a soul transfer experiment. She offered to be the test subject because Parksolians, with their weird little soul rift symptoms, are perfect for soul transfers. So, Snakes performed the surgery, accidentally killing Meteor and becoming forever traumatized. While she was looking through her research to see what she did wrong, she found out they were missing a secret ingredient.
Chemical X.
No, the mark of the cycle. But what is the mark of the cycle, and where was it? Well, let's rewind a little bit. So remember, Ecarus is the god of reincarnation. The god of reincarnation has the mark of the cycle of reincarnation, the cycle of, life and death. I believe that the mark of the cycle is what helps the god of reincarnation remember who they are and what their mission is, because, the god of reincarnation also has to reincarnate at some point, especially after ferrying all the souls. again, it weighs down on you. Ecarus got weighed down, and he was getting ready to, he's gotta go sometime. He's gotta be reincarnating soon. Speaking of Ecarus, remember when he went to take that mental health leave? Well, apparently, at some point, it became paternity leave because he had a daughter named Ephia. She stayed with Ecarus on a mountain overlooking the boneyard, and by this point, that major soul tide had already happened and all of the dragons had died off. I figured he had her to become the next god of reincarnation, especially since I think at this point in time, he might have given Ephia the mark of the cycle, but one of her diary entries made it seem like he just wanted her to be happy and choose what she wanted to do and become. But, yeah, I mean, he could have been one of those annoying parents who's like, "You're the only daughter of the god of reincarnation, and I am old and frail, and I've basically spent your whole life setting you up to be my successor. But I would never tell you what to do. You have to make your own decisions. Just choose wisely." And one day, he was like, "I gotta go. I got some important stuff to do. Stay here and don't leave. Especially if you hear my disembodied voice telling you to leave. Definitely don't leave then." So off he went, and Ephia waited around for a bit until she heard the disembodied voice of Ecarus telling her to leave. So, like any good daughter would do, she completely ignored her dad's warning and headed off to where the voice told her to go, Heaven's Reach. So she gets there and, uh-oh, Osnus captured Ephia and yoinked the mark of the cycle.
Hey, give it back!
Nope, it's mine now, Ecarus.
Ecarus?
Also, I'm gonna imprison you and use your heart to power the city and use your blood to make it all shiny and golden.
Huh?
Also, I think it'd be fun to make you power up a ballerina automaton that dances forever and ever just for funsies.
Huh?
While Ephia is trapped and tortured for like 1,000 years, Asna uses the mark of the cycle to transfer her soul into younger bodies so she can live forever and look hot doing it. First, she transfers into her daughter's body because her daughter's a giant kiss ass. Later on, she would transfer into the bodies of volunteers. But soon, the people didn't really want to volunteer anymore. So, they were voluntold. At some point, rumors about a giant oncoming apocalypse started spreading, so Osna put up the Haven Veil to hide Heaven's Reach from the rest of the world and to keep them safe. As far as the Titans were concerned, everything would be awesome forever.
Everything would not be awesome forever.
The Titans may have moved on from imprisoning and torturing Ephia, but Ephia sure hadn't.
Screw you, Osna. Screw you, Mothus. Screw all you Titans. You don't get to reincarnate. You want to live forever? I'm gonna curse your souls to forever live trapped in all your stupid little robots. You want shiny gold? I'll give you shiny gold. Enough to drown you all in it. Y'all suck.
So all hell broke loose with Titans turning into liquid gold and getting their souls trapped in the robots, aka Cogbots. And even Osna keeled over dead, but don't worry, she was fine. So the remaining members of Mothus ran for their cocoons to preserve their bodies and keep themselves safe during the Titan extinction event. Fast forward 1,000 years, and the Mothus members are woken up from their cocoons by the Abyss. And they start planning to bring Osna back. But, uh-oh, somehow the mark of the cycle split in half while they were taking their 1,000-year nap, and they only have one half. They need to find the other half of the mark while building up their influence around Miraland. To start, they transferred White Sheep's soul into the body of a young Parksolian.
You're not really a Parksolian. You're just on an undercover mission.
Now, if only they knew a very paranoid, very sexy, very desperate, and very hot person to take advantage of. Enter Medale, a Parksolian healer who maybe committed a little bit of mass murder by mutating a soul tide. Remember the migraines Parksolians get from Soul Rift? Well, turns out Soul Rift is now full-on agony and torture, and poor Medale just can't seem to find a way to stop it. She's tired of researching. She's tired of her people suffering. So she just decided, hey, why don't we try killing everybody? But unfortunately for Medale, reincarnation is still very much a thing for Parksolians, so murder, this time, was not the answer. Mothus, after deciding that Medale was still within a safe zone on the hot to crazy scale, convinced her that the dragons and Ecarus were actually really bad guys, and they tricked the Parksolians into being in charge of the reincarnation duties on purpose. And the Parksolians should absolutely worship the Titan King as the true god instead. Which is totally relevant because when the Titan King is resurrected, they'll take over the cycle of reincarnation and free the Parksolians.
Meanwhile,
Ephia, who we last saw cursing all of the Titans, eventually died at some point and maybe failed to reincarnate a bunch of times. All I'm pretty sure about is that around the time of Medale being in cahoots with Mothus, she reincarnated under the Mother Shroom as the Saintess. Probably because with Ecarus presumed dead and the Mark of the Cycle split in two, Ephia couldn't reincarnate the usual way, whatever that's supposed to look like, and reincarnated through the Mother Shroom because, I don't know, the will of the cycle or something. Anyways, she didn't know who she was. She didn't know where she was. She just knew her whole body really hurt. The Saintess was soon discovered by shroomlings who carried her to Spira to take care of her. She eventually meets a hot Parksolian going by the name of Angert, and his boss, Medale, who is now acting as the high priestess of docilism, Mothus's made-up religion about the Titan King to control the shroomlings and weaken Ecarus's influence. But some memories start returning to the Saintess, and she remembers that Ecarus, and not the Titan King, is the true god of this land. She tries to investigate when she can, but she's constantly being watched by Medale, especially after Medale sees that the Saintess has the other half of the Mark of the Cycle. Because of this, Mothus gives Medale a mechanical seed to plant in the Saintess as a way to try and reincarnate the Titan King. I think in order to make that plan work, Medale had to first put the mechanical seed in the Mother Shroom, causing it to become sick, thus giving her the perfect excuse to hold a quote-unquote healing ceremony, aka Titan King wake up ceremony. Somewhere in the middle of this plan, or maybe before, the Saintess gradually grows weaker and is slowly dying until she discovers Nikki, who's been in Itzaland for 2 seconds, and the Saintess is instantly drawn to her heart of infinity. She gives Nikki her half of the Mark of the Cycle and asks for her help in completing Ecarus's judgment, and that's where the 2.0 story begins. Nikki, being Nikki, finds out Angert's a good guy.
I'm not really a docilist. I'm just on an undercover mission.
She foils Medale's plans and exposes docilism for the fake religion that it is, leading to Medale fleeing to the Boneyard. Mothus didn't seem too happy about Medale's failure and lost track of the mark after the Saintess gave it to Nikki. In 2.5, Nikki heads to the Boneyard to take down Medale. Medale, crazy and hot as ever, decided that since her plans failed the last time, she'll just erase the Parksolian souls herself. She plunges the mechanical seed into her chest and transforms into a flower poodle. And after being defeated, then transforms into a fancy hat. After defeating Medale and reading a stone tablet with the true story of the Parksolian origins, the Saintess remembers her true mission to find the other half of the mark and finish Ecarus's judgment in Heaven's Reach. So she and Nikki shoot a super arrow into the mountain and pierce through the Haven Veil that's been hiding Heaven's Reach this whole time. In 2.8, Nikki gets an invite from Mothus to attend a golden feast. It's obviously a trap, but Nikki, Momo, and the Saintess were literally just about to head there anyways, so might as well. Once in Heaven's Reach, Nikki meets a weirdly self-aware cogbot named Click and the Shroomsaras, little mushrooms specifically engineered to be fuel for Heaven's Reach and to be 20% more annoying than regular shroomlings. Nikki hears about the Shroomsara tradition of attending a little shindig called the Full Bloom Celebration, which none of them ever return from, so Nikki and Click split up to investigate. After riding a roller coaster filled with cheese, Nikki and the gang find out about the whole Shroomsaras being fuel for Heaven's Reach thing. To save the Shroomsaras from the Shroomsara crushing machine, Click gets crushed by the Shroomsara crushing machine. This kills Click, leaving only a gear and a heart of the city-flavored Dorito chip to remember her by. Nikki then bumps into her good pal, Angert. I'm not really a Mothus member. I'm just on an undercover mission. Angert shows Nikki the cocoon room, and they meet 3 titans who are still in their cocoons. Eamon, Fields, and Gyrene. Mothus woke us all up just to take our friend Sui to use as a vessel for Ozna, and then they immediately stopped feeding us that sweet nutrient sludge we need to survive. So now we're all dying. Please open up our cocoons so that we can die outside. Nikki and Angert oblige and watch as the last members of the Titan race get the Mr. Stark I don't feel so good special. Angert then leads Nikki to the Soul Corridor, where she gets important backstory on Mothus and then gets backstabbed as Angert reveals that he is White Sheep, the love child of Blue Eyes and Black Sheep, and then pushes her off a cliff. Nikki wakes up trapped in some sort of weird crystal ball and gets a front row seat to a father-son dynamic so dysfunctional it would make an episode of Succession feel like the Brady Bunch. Angert, during his father-son talk, gives Nikki hidden hand signals to help her time her escape from the weird crystal ball because he's not really a backstabber, he's just undercover. Dad, I told you not to call me that at work. Chief, this plan sounds dumb. You're dumb. My soul got cursed, so I can't get back into a physical body. You're literally stealing the mark to undo a curse you got from stealing the mark. Make it make sense. Shut up! The Abyssal Lord woke us all up, and he's gonna help us get rid of the curse, and we'll be super powerful. Oh my god, he's from the Abyss. That's totally sus. Ugh, you're just like your mother. I don't know why she died for you. You suck. You suck. White Sheep, I brought both you and this soul corridor into this world, and I can take both of you out of it. And you too! Nikki and Angert run to the exit of the crumbling corridor, but uh-oh, the exit is shrinking, and Angert already used up all his soul powers. Luckily, Nikki barely passes shroomling body standards, so she's tiny and petite enough for Angert to make the exit just a bit wider and push her through. She wakes up next to the now soulless husk of a hunk and mails his body first class back to the boneyard. Nikki spends about 2 seconds feeling sad before immediately moving on and heading to the Golden Feast. Nikki doesn't need to go through the 5 stages of grief. She's already made grief-inspired clothing pieces before, and you want her to do it again? That would make her an outfit repeater, which is unacceptable because remember, this is a dress-up game. Nikki shows up at the feast and meets the remaining Mothus members, who immediately sick the abyss-powered reincarnation of Osna upon her. Nikki beats the abyssal out of her, and she's like,
Oh, it's you. Awkward way to meet again, right?
Do I know you? King! The girl has the mark. Kill her!
Shut up, Pioneer.
Same old Osna. So what should I call you?
Click. Yeah, that whole Titan's souls trapped in Cogbot's curse applied to me too. So a Dorito-shaped part of my soul's been in click for like 1,000 years. I forgot.
Do you regret any of the messed up stuff that you did?
No. But it sucks that my people are being punished for something I did. So take my half of the mark and give it back so my people's souls can stop being forever trapped in Cogbots.
Oh my god, I remember everything. Saintess? Not Saintess. Ephia. And I'm legit about to crash out, so just go. Get out of here. Nope.
Instead of leaving her, Nikki gives Ephia free childhood regression therapy, and Ephia leaves the session feeling a bit better. Nikki and Ephia finally reunite the pieces of the cycle, but uh-oh, it's corrupted, and they can't stop it because the will of reincarnation is too strong. If only there was a stupid, spongy, spory exception to the laws of reincarnation. With the help of mushroom magic and a new miracle outfit from Osna, Nikki and Ephia purify the corrupted mark of this cycle, and it returned to the boneyard, thus restoring the cycle of life and death, and slowly healing the soul rift symptoms of all Parksolians.
Nikki, Parksolians could be totally soul rift free in 100 years.
Parksolians. Ingrid was a Parksolian. Rest in peace.
I wasn't really dead. I was on an undercover mission.
So now order has been restored to this once wild land. Nikki, now that the land's no longer wild, I guess you could say it's a land.
And that is my summary of the Itzaland storyline. Hopefully it wasn't too inaccurate and at least made a little bit of sense. But regardless, I do hope you enjoyed it. Also, huge shout out to the YouTuber Meyowing. They have videos up of playthroughs of the whole patches of the Infinity Nikki stories. So I pulled a lot of screenshots from her videos because I was I think they talked about that in the story thing, but once you play through it, you really can't go back and watch those cutscenes again, you know? So I used a whole bunch of her stuff, so please go to her channel, show her some love. I will link her in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!